Hello, everyone. You are listening to Misunderstood Minds, a podcast about trauma, the nervous system, and the patterns we've been taught to fix, but might actually need to understand. I am your host, Wendy Moore, and I'm glad you're here. In each episode, we go beyond surface level conversations to explore how patterns actually form, why they keep repeating, and what it really takes to create change. Today, we're getting into something that a lot of people experience, but don't always have language for. Have you ever felt like part of you wants one thing and another part of you wants something completely different? One part wants to move forward, but something inside you hesitates. Maybe you've had moments where you think, I should just do this. I know this is good for me. I've thought this through. And then you don't. Or maybe in relationships, one part of you really wants closeness. You want to connect. You want to be open. But then something shifts. You pull back, you overthink, you shut down. And afterward, you're left wondering, why did I do that? And for some of you, you already know the answer. You can explain it. You understand your patterns. But nothing changes. This is where a lot of people get stuck. Because at that point, it's not a lack of awareness. You've already done the work of understanding. You've reflected. You've made connections. And yet, your reactions still feel automatic. So what's happening? The issue is this. Most of what drives your behavior is not happening at the level of conscious thinking. It's happening deeper. So let's bring in something that helps make sense of this. The idea that your mind is made up of different parts. Now, this doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. This is actually how your system organizes itself. Over time, based on your experiences, different parts of you take on different roles. And those roles are designed to help you navigate the world. So instead of thinking, why am I like this? We shift to, what part of me is showing up right now? That one shift alone changes how you relate to yourself. Let's take a closer look at these parts. The managers are parts that try to stay ahead of things. They try to anticipate problems before they happen. For example, you might have a part that replays conversations, analyzes everything you said, tries to predict how someone else feels. And from the outside, that can look like overthinking. But internally, that part is trying to do something very specific. Prevent something painful from happening again. It might look like rejection, or maybe embarrassment, or maybe feeling not good enough. So instead of waiting for that to happen, this part tries to control the situation. And even though it feels exhausting, it makes sense. Now, if something does slip through and that emotional intensity rises, another part steps in. This is called the firefighter. These parts don't plan, they react. This is where you might see shutting down, avoiding the situation, distracting yourself, or emotionally checking out. This part isn't trying to solve the problem. It's trying to reduce the feeling and do it quickly. And underneath all of that are the parts that hold the actual emotional experiences. These are called exiles. These might carry moments where you feel rejected, times you felt ashamed, experiences where you didn't feel safe. And those experiences don't just disappear, they get stored. So the system organizes itself around protecting this part. So when you feel stuck, it's not random. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because different parts of you are trying to protect you in different ways. Now, this is where it connects back to something really important. You can understand all of this. You can know exactly why you react the way you do. But if those parts are still active, the pattern continues. Because those parts are not operating through logic. They're operating through emotional memory, body responses, learned patterns. So insight alone doesn't reach them. So naturally, the question then becomes, why don't these parts just relax? If things are different now, why do they keep showing up? Because from their perspective, nothing has changed. If your body still reacts, your system assumes the threat is still present, even if you logically know it isn't. And this is where shame often comes in, because instead of understanding the pattern, you start judging it. You think, I shouldn't feel this way. I should be over this. What's wrong with me? And that actually strengthens the protective system. The goal is not to get rid of these parts. The goal is to understand them, because once a part feels understood, it doesn't have to work as hard. So here's something you can try this week. The next time you notice a reaction, just simply pause. And instead of analyzing it or trying to fix it, just notice, what part of me is here right now? Maybe it's the part that overthinks. Maybe it's the part that shuts down. Maybe it's the part that wants to pull away. And then ask, what is this part trying to do for me? Not what it's doing wrong, but what it's trying to do. That question creates space. If there's one thing to take from today, it's this. You are not one fixed way of being. You are a system made up of different parts, each trying to protect you. And when those parts are understood, instead of fought, that's when change becomes possible. If this episode resonated with you, take a moment to notice what stood out. Sometimes it's not about learning something new, but recognizing something that was already there. Thanks for being here. Until then, stay curious about your patterns, not critical of them. Because the more you understand your mind, the less it needs to fight to be heard. And I'll see you in the next episode of Misunderstood Mind.